something. So I quietly went out to the patio doors in the living room and I looked out and I saw a dog. What I thought was a dog. It was big. I mean, big. It looked like a great mastiff. It had the body width of like a big bear. It was huge. And I'm looking at this thing thinking, what the hell am I looking at here? It looked up at me. It had the most disgusting, sickening yellow eyes, and it stared me right in the eyes.
This is the Cryptic Creatures Podcast. I am Brian, and with me as always is my co-host Todd. What's going on, my friend?
Brian, as you know, we have another Dogman encounter tonight. These things
Dogman
are popping up all over the place, are they not?
I know. There seem to be more and more here lately.
That concerns me a lot, in a lot of different ways.
Again, it could just be because, we're spreading out into their territory, so as humans.
Same as Bigfoot, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, so maybe got to come closer to us to get their food. So
tonight we're going to bring Joy on, and Joy had an encounter in Florida, believe it or not. So we're going to talk to her and hear what happened with her Dogman encounter.
All right, let's get her.
Hello?
Hello. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
Hi.
Thanks for talking to us tonight. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been really excited about it, but also my stomach's been a little upset for the past couple of days thinking about the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was really something I hope I never have to go through again.
Wow.
I don't know where to start. Do you want me to just tell what happened? Or?
Yeah, just start from the beginning.
Yeah, when and where did it happen before you get rolling on that?
Okay, it was Mirrored Island, Florida. And I don't want to give the exact street and the house because somebody else is living there, and they probably don't want to be bothered.
That's fine.
I originally thought it was like 98, but it could have been 1997. It was, quite a few years back. The thing about it is I told a lot of people, and I got really negative reactions well, anyways, I'll go ahead and tell you what happened.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was late at night. It must have been around 1 to 3 o'clock in the morning. We had gone to bed pretty early, and I heard something out back. So I thought, well, we had a possum out there a couple days prior, and I was trying to convince my husband to take the trash from the back out to the front because I was working 2 jobs. He was working 1, and I was like, you got 1 job to do, man. Just take the trash. So I would stick the trash bag between where he would park his truck out back and the door, thinking that this man would pick this up. But he walked around it, of course, and came in the door anyways. But so the possum had gotten into it prior, so I thought, well, I've got him this time because I'm going to wake his ass up and I'm going to show him the freaking possum in the trash. And then he's going to have to do something about it. So I heard something. So I quietly went out to the patio doors in the living room and I looked out and I saw a dog. What I thought was a dog. It was big. I mean, big. It was like... It looked like a great mastiff, or it had the body width of like a big bear. It was huge, and it had its head down, and I couldn't tell if it was actually eating it or just like sniffing around the trash, and it had its paws down. And I'm looking at this thing thinking, what the hell am I looking at here? It had really big ears, and what freaked me out at first was it turned one of its paws around like a human being to scoop something up to its nose. And I was like, holy crap, what kind of a dog does that? And I'm still looking at this thing. Oh, God, I'm getting all weirded out already.
It's all right. Take your time.
Okay, I got to breathe.
No, you're fine. Take your time.
If you can imagine, I mean, I'm standing there. In Florida, they don't do double panes of glass like they do up here up north. Down there, it's single pane of glass. You can have a cheap patio door, whatever. It's not that big a deal because the weather's pretty good, especially on the island. That's why NASA's on the north end of the island, because the weather is usually around 70 some odd degrees there. It's always really great. So And I'm thinking, there's just this thin sheet of glass between me and this thing. And I'm standing there. And so anyways, it looked up at me. And I noticed that it had really big ears too. And it had like tufts of hair on each of its ears, which was weird because you see dogs, but you never see these long tufts of hair on the tips of the ears. And it didn't snarl or growl or anything, but it had the most disgusting, sickening yellow eyes, and it stared me right in the eyes. And this thing had no fear. I mean, none whatsoever. It scared the bejesus out of me, I swear to God. And it proceeded to start to stand up. And when it did, I let out a holler. I mean, I screamed. Like, I screamed so hard, I had a sore throat for 2 days after. I let out a death scream. It was my final scream. I was dying, and I knew that thing had me. I had nothing to protect myself with. I'm standing there in my nightgown, and I'm ashamed to say it, but I peed myself. I was that scared. And my husband come barreling out of the bedroom, and he has Glock in his hand, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at it, and it's still staring me square in the eyes, and it just went around the corner of the house. As it did that, he's asking me, "What in the hell is wrong with you?" I'm standing there shaking like a leaf, screaming at the top of my lungs, peeing myself. And he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm trying to explain to him. And he goes, "You saw a dog?" And he's thinking, this woman's out of her mind. So he goes to go see what it is. And I'm like, hell no. And so I ran over to the front door because he figured, it rounded the house. He's got to go cut it off. So I threw myself up against that front door. Now I'm fighting with the man with the Glock in his hands. So I'm still shaking. And he's proceeding to try to get out the door. Well, he's bigger than me. So it was quite a fight. But I'm like, I'm not going to let you get yourself killed, So that happened. Okay. Now, people, when I told my dad, he said, I need to get my head screwed on right. And I told my mom, and she said, you're watching too many damn horror movies and stuff. And I said, Mom, if I made this up, okay, I could have done a much better job. For one thing, this creature should have had red eyes, okay? It should not have had yellow eyes. That freaked me out more than anything else. I saw its legs. The legs were like, how do I describe this thing? Okay, first off, it was jet black. And I could see it because there was a full moon, okay? And so people say, well, yeah, it's a werewolf or whatever. No, this was no werewolf. And the thing about the full moon business is, these things are probably out there all the time. We just don't see them because there's not a full moon so we can see them. But they're out there, okay? And I didn't see its genitals. I was staring at its eyes and it was staring at mine. I glanced at its legs as it went around the corner. That's the only reason I saw that it had the backward legs like a dog. Okay, if this is some kind of prehistoric wolf thing or something, but it didn't bare its teeth at me. It didn't growl. It didn't make any noise. It was quiet as hell. It didn't smell. Now, I was panning for gold up in the high Sierras when we lived in California. And our friends were with us, and they had a Rottweiler. And this Rottweiler come down the path, and it stank to high heaven. And it come over to me, and I pushed it by the nose, and I said, "Go on, Pico, go on." And it kind of woofed its head back and forth, and it put its head back over to me. I grabbed it by the nose and pushed it away. I go, "God, you stink." I mean, that thing smelled like trash and everything else. Well, come to find out, it started raining, so we went over to our friends and camped out under the lean-to with them. And I said, "Don't you want to go get your dog?" And they said, "Our dog's been in the truck all night." I had a bear that had come up to me, and I pushed it away by its nose.
Wow.
And when it come back at me again, I had pushed it even harder on the nose.
Lucky.
And I guess that convinced that I wasn't prey. I was just like pushing it away. So I've had an up-close encounter with a bear. And I can tell you that this was not a bear that I saw in Merritt Island, Florida. Now, like I said before, NASA's on the north end of the island. And I don't know. I don't believe in all that weird stuff, but maybe there is an alien aspect to this, or I don't know. I have no idea. At first, I didn't know what the hell I saw. So I'm telling people, I'm trying to save people on the island, okay? Because I'm thinking, if I call the police, they're going to give me the same reaction as my dad, get your head screwed on, right? If I call the animal control, what the hell are they going to capture? The thing is gone, right? They're not going to do anything about it. So I'm just telling people who live on the island. So I get to my friend Lori, and I tell her, and she says, well, you got to talk to my husband. And I'm like, what the hell do I have to talk to him about? I'm already telling you. But she's like, no, you got to talk to him. So he comes over and she says, tell him the story about you and your brother and the demon that got in your house. They were calling it a demon. Well, this thing, this was like 10 years or so prior to when I had seen this. Theirs was a lot smaller than mine. Mine was about, I want to say 7 or 8 feet tall when it stood up. I'm guesstimating now, guys, because I'm no professional. I'm 5'3", and all I know is this sucker was towering me. I mean, it was huge, huge. It had a torso like a man, but it had the features of like a dog, but it didn't have a long snout. Okay, so you ever watched the movie Dog Soldiers? If you've ever seen that movie, yeah. Okay, no, it doesn't look like that. It's not all drooly and all that crap, and it didn't have a real long snout and all that. But you guys had a picture on your website about one of these dogmen. And when I saw that, that's why I responded. And I said, you won't believe what I've seen. Because I saw that. That's exactly, and I have looked. I mean, over the years, of course I've looked, trying to figure out what the hell I saw. I mean, I don't go out looking for this thing. I'm not one of these big Sasquatch people who's going to go out in the woods traipsing after this thing looking for it, because I sure as hell don't ever want to see it again. I've had my thrill, it's over. It's done. I was up for like 2 days, sore throat, sick to my stomach, headache you would not believe. Oh, the headache was unreal. I mean, I went through it. I seriously thought I was going to die. And it distinctly gave me the impression it could take me. I mean, it has no fear of people whatsoever. None. So anyways, he is talking about they had their doors and windows open. Their mom was at work. Him and his brother were in their living room. And this thing come in their house. And it went in their kitchen. It was foraging for food. And it opened their refrigerator, according to him, and proceeded to pull a bunch of crap out. And they dove over top of each other, getting to their mom's bedroom. They barricaded themselves in there. And then a few hours later, their mom pulls up. She finally got off from work. They got to go rescue their mom now. So they got a dilemma. Do they stay in the bedroom or do they come out and try to help poor mom? So they run out. They finally got their, brave enough. They got out and she blamed them for it. Of course, they got spankings or whatever they got for that. But they didn't do it. And they were calling it a demon. To them, that's demon. To me, it was an animal. It had a little bit of eye shine, okay? It had fur. It was big. It was definitely an animal, And so that's what I saw. Mary Island, Florida, probably 1998. 1997, somewhere in there. I can't tell you exactly, this was a while ago. Yeah, but as a result of that, now I got a fence around my yard when we were living there. I had motion lights. And of course, I had one main light that was left on. And I sleep with the lights on to this day. And over here, now that I'm in Indiana, my friend now, we have lights out back. We have motion detectors, and we have a street light that shines right in the backyard. And I don't go looking for this thing. And I will not live in a house with a patio door again. I'll tell you that. No way. No how. Because when you're standing there face to face with one of these suckers with the thin sheet of glass between you and it, it's a life-changing experience. It really is.
Yeah, I bet it is.
So that's my experience with this thing. And I hope to God I never see it again. I watch all these movies and I'm like, and it's like, it's not, you can't even fathom it. Doesn't, Hollywood's still trying to get there, but they just, and I guess unless you see one for real, you really don't know what it looks like,
Right.
And oh my God. Anyways, I'm trying to calm down again. Now I'm all wired. Woo! Mm-hmm. So, guess what I did? Something stupid. So I'm figuring, okay, I'm going to be telling all these people about this, right? I'm going to give it another little shot. So 4th of July, we have people over for a barbecue. And what do? I decide, okay, this is going to get me brave now. I'm going to tell a small group of people. So I pull them aside. And I'm like, let me tell you what I saw. Okay, that was a fiasco. One guy couldn't even look me in the eyes, and I've known this guy for like 17 years. And he was looking at the sofa, he was looking at the floor, he was smirking, he was trying not to laugh. And I'm like, oh, come on, that doesn't build my confidence at all to tell this, like, hey, man. And then one of my friends, my girlfriend, she's like grabbing my arm. And she's looking at my arm. She goes, you got goosebumps. And she says, I can tell by your voice that you're really stressed out. And I'm like, you guys, I'm trying to tell you something. But the reactions you get are so odd, And then other people are just staring at me like, are you for real? I mean,
I don't know.
So understand that we totally believe you, and all of our listeners out there are going to believe you too. So don't feel bad about that. There's going to be plenty of people to hear this encounter and know that you're telling the truth.
And hopefully somebody will hear it and they'll reach out with an encounter of their own.
Yes.
Yeah.
From the same place.
I hope that they do catch it eventually, because it's some kind of cryptic, animal, right? It's some kind of unknown animal.
Yeah.
And wherever it comes from or whatever, I mean, it's like it's sort of like a man, but it's not. But it's like a dog, but it's not. I don't know what you could call it, but yeah. But I'll tell you what, if they ever put it in a zoo or something, I'm not going to go look at it. I've already seen it. I don't need to see it again.
Yeah,
I'm done with that. But other people might be interested, just to see what the hell I saw. Oh my God.
Well, we've interviewed several other people. We have several other Dogman episodes out there if you want to go on and check them out. Maybe that'll kind of put you at ease a little bit. I know like episode 45 is a good one. I think episode 10 is also another Dogman episode, but just you'll see them in the titles if you want to look. And just hear those guys' encounters and see what you think about that. Maybe you can relate to those a little bit and help you feel a little bit better. But how close do you think you were on the other side of this glass to this thing? I mean,
Lord.
If you took the glass out of the equation, how close were you guys to each other?
In Florida, they do like slab houses. They'll lay down a slab and just drop the house on it. So we had a little bit of a slab area out back off of the patio door. I would say I was no more than maybe 3 or 4 feet away from this thing. I mean, it was close enough.
Wow.
It was too damn close, in my estimation.
Too close,
Yeah. That's nothing you want to wake up to and stand there and, have face to face with it. And I was okay. I mean, it was staring at me, but when it stood up, that's when I lost it. I just peed. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, that is really embarrassing. I wasn't going to mention it, but that's the honest to God truth. I mean, I was shaking. And then when I got over to the front door to block my ex, I was still shaking. And I know he thought I was nuts. I mean, who wouldn't have? You wake up, your wife's screaming, she's beating herself. What you going to think? Of course, But God.
Did he finally get by you and be able to catch a glimpse of it, or?
No, I made his ass stay up for a couple minutes so I could take a shower and get changed. And then I got in the bed with him. I don't care. I wasn't going nowhere. I locked the bedroom door and I was sitting right on the bed all night, wide awake with the TV on, lights on and everything. And he was pissed. But I don't care. We were alive. We survived. That's all I cared about. He could be mad at me all he wanted to. The next morning, which was only a few hours away when he had to go to work, I went to the door with him. And that took a lot of guts because I did not want to go back to that patio door. But I made him take the Glock with him to work, even though he wasn't supposed to, and put it in his glove box. Because if that thing was still out there, I wanted him to have protection, be able to do something, even though I don't know what he could have done. And I didn't want him to really go out back, but I mean, how else was he going to get to the truck? In the meantime, he's still thinking I'm a fruitcake, but whatever. That thing could have had me. He could have eaten me. And I distinctly got the impression when he was looking me dead in the eyes, he was thinking about it. Honest to God, I think he was thinking about it. And there was, like the bear, the bear wafts his head from side to side. Dogs, even they'll look up and down or around or whatever before they make a move. Cats, even wild cats will do stuff like that. If you notice, a lot of wild animals have those tufts of hair on the tips of their ears. Well, this thing had that. Now, I've seen Maine Coon cats that have that tuft, but I haven't seen any other domestic animals like that, which really freaked me out. And, I could have created a creature probably a little more disturbing with drool and, big old tongue and claws.
Well, if you're gonna make something up, I mean, go all out.
Go all out. But this was a live, actual creature staring at me eyeball to eyeball. So, it's an experience, and if anybody ever sees this, you're never going to forget it.
How long did you live in the house before you had this encounter?
About 2 years. It was a brand new house. We hadn't lived there very long.
Did you ever feel weird or like you're being watched outside or anything like that before this happened?
No, but we had a lot of weird animals up in there, like that possum. That it was a big white albino possum with red eyes, and we had osprey come up in there. We had snakes galore. I mean, 3 times I had to put. Okay, I put snakes out of the house, and I mean not little ones, big ass snakes. My husband's up on the furniture screaming like a little girl, and I'm down there with a broom and the snake. I always thought of myself as kind of a badass, because if somebody started something with me, I'd take them down. I mean, I didn't have problems with stuff like that until I met this thing. Something bigger than me, something badder than me was at my back door. So it kind of changed my life a little, but up until then I was okay. And so, oh God, no. Just thinking about it, I'm actually getting a little hoarse.
Probably when you screamed is when it took off, I'm guessing. So you probably startled it as well, and that's why I'm guessing it took off.
I don't know, or either, yeah, maybe. Or maybe when my husband was coming out, it heard somebody else coming or something. It had huge ears, so it could have heard whatever, And I don't know. I don't know what made it leave. I just thank God that it did. That's all I know is I just thank God. Because it could have had me. It could have ate me for dinner. And there was nothing I could have done about it. Could have come right through that glass if it wanted to. It was big enough. I'd say this thing probably weighed maybe 300 or 400 pounds. I don't know. I'm guesstimating again, but it was probably huge. I mean, it was huge. And it had, you ever see these big football players, linebackers, God, they're like monster men, They're huge, big, muscular dudes, And this thing was like that. It was like, oh my God, And, but it didn't smell. And you know how bears stink to high heaven. And you would expect if it's muzzling my trash, it's going to stink. But maybe the stink of the trash, I don't know. But I didn't smell it. And it didn't growl at me or anything. I think if it did, I probably would have just passed out at that point. Because I was like so hyped up. I mean, it was like, ah.
So did you go the next day? Did you go outside and look to see if you
found tracks
or anything?
And Bev asked me that too. They said, why didn't you go out and get some paw prints or something? I said I had all I could do to go back to that patio door and watch my husband get in the damn truck. I said, no, I'm not going out there. Besides, the ground in Florida there, they have like these crabgrass weeds like things over sand. So it's real hard to see footprints and things like that in it with the type of grass it is. It's not like your northern, eastern, where you have the muddy grass or the muddy, or up here up north, it's damp or in the snow or whatever. But no. Even if I could have gotten something, you would not have gotten my ass out there to do it. And no, I did not pick up that trash either. He did. I was not going back out there. And we got a fence and we got lights out back. And do you think I went back out there to see if I heard something else out back? Hell no. No, I stayed in my bedroom. Whatever was going on out there was going on out there. That's somebody else's problem now. I'm not seeing it again. Nope. And he had gone out there a couple times after that looking, to see if he could see anything, but there was nothing. He didn't see nothing.
I'm looking on the map here, Merritt Island. It's really seems like, it's pretty close to population, but once you get on the island, there's a lot of wooded, empty, or sparse area on there, where about anything can probably hide, I'm guessing.
I don't know. We get a lot of weird creatures there. We had, well, of course, alligators. Everybody's got those, but we had them in our yard. And everybody on the island eventually sees alligators on the side of the road or crossing the road or, stuff like that. We get those big, birds like cranes and egrets and all kinds of stuff. They have flamingos, which screeching and hollering up the street. Or not flamingos, I'm sorry, peacocks. They have, all kinds of wildlife. It's basically like a reserve, because NASA's got the north end of the island and it's mostly wooded up there. And so, I'm thinking, how could this possibly be? This is a somewhat populated area. And, yeah, we got some weird bugs and creatures and things like that. But, something that big, where the hell would it come from? Now, he worked over in Orlando, and he also would go out to different areas, like out towards the swamp and stuff. And I don't know if maybe he had gone out somewhere and brought it back in his truck, and I could have hopped in there. I don't know. I have no clue where it come from. All I know is it was not a mask. It was not a suit. This was a real, live, living creature. That's all I know.
It's interesting that NASA is right there on that island, too. You made that comment earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about all these dogmen and stuff like that. I mean, I'm calling it that now, but before I didn't know what to call it till I saw that picture on y'all's website, because when I saw that, I knew right then what to call it. It's a dogman, because I've seen thousands and thousands of pictures, movies, whatever, and nothing looked like it. People are drawing all kinds of crazy stuff. They might as well put antennas on it with a big old dinosaur tail, because it doesn't look nothing like this thing at all. But this one picture you guys got, that big old black thing there, and it's got a short snout like that, and it's so wild to actually have finally seen it, finally found a picture of what it really looks like.
The one you saw, did it have a tail?
That's what I don't know. I didn't look at the tail. I didn't see the genitals, and they were clearly would have been displayed to me when it stood up. I didn't see the tail. I wasn't looking at that. I was looking at its eyes. But as it rounded the corner of the house, I saw its leg. And I saw that its leg was like a dog leg. That's what I saw, because it bent it backwards the wrong way. And it was walking like a freaking man around the house. And I mean, what kind of a dog does that? You see how dogs kind of waddle their way when they stand on their back legs? Not this sucker. He was walking. I mean, I don't know. And those upturned paws, that's what freaked me out at first. I mean, what kind of a dog does that? How do they turn their paws up? And I don't know if it was actually eating the trash or if it was just like muzzling the trash, different things. I don't know. I never knew when my husband would be home. And so I would cook. He wouldn't show up. I'd put it in the trash, because he didn't want to eat leftovers. He was Italian, and he didn't like leftover pasta. And if it came in a can, he wasn't going to eat it, and blah, 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 So.
Was it an actual paw? Did you see clearly? Was it a paw, or was it more of a hand?
It looked, when it was flat out down on the ground, like it was a paw. When he turned it over, it kind of spread out a little. And it still looked similar to a dog paw. It did, but it was like big, So he could turn it over and scoop stuff up to his face. And then he looked up at me, and that was it. It was over from there on. I was just staring into my balls. And it never once flinched, never looked away. And it definitely has no fear of man, And that thing about that moonlight, I was thinking, yeah, it's a full moon, right? But they're out there. You just don't see them, but the stuff's all out there.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
Joy, how long did you live there after this encounter?
In that house, I guess we lived there for about 6-7 years altogether. So we lived there probably after that encounter, maybe another 3 years, 4 years, maybe. And then I left and moved to New Mexico after we got divorced. You could see that was coming, right? Because, he went pick up the trash. That's what happened.
Well,
you're in a relationship.
If he would have, you would have never saw that dogman. So
that's true.
Oh, well, you know what? I would have rather had him pick up the trash than me see the dogman. I'll tell you that. I didn't need this encounter at all. In fact, now I've got a whole new group of people looking at me like I'm nuts.
No, we don't think you're nuts.
We don't think you're nuts.
No, I know, but 4th of July, I thought I'd do something,
Well, you saw what you saw, I mean,
right.
I know.
Your mind and your eyes told you what you saw, and we've heard of these accounts plenty of times. And I know, like, you were embarrassed about what you said happened, but you got to think about it. We hear that a lot too with Bigfoot encounters, where guys will be upset and pee their pants, whatever you want to call it, release themselves, because you're kind of in a helplessness state. Right. There's nothing you can do. There's nowhere you can go. It's just up to this animal if it's going to kill you or not.
Yeah.
So it's just natural for a person to respond those ways. So I don't want you to feel bad about that either.
Absolutely.
Well, I kind of left that part out when I told the people on the 4th of July. I thought that, I just certain parts don't need to be. But this is kind of, I got a blank screen. Nobody can see me. Nobody knows where I am in Indiana. I can go ahead and tell them,
Right.
what really happened there. It's not a big deal. But as far as my close friends, I'm not going to tell them because they still think I've got my, self covered here, and I don't want them to think I'm a big wuss.
Right.
But that's me patting myself on my chest. I'm trying to.
You're fine.
Chill.
You're doing great.
I guess if grown men are peeing themselves, then I shouldn't feel bad about it. They don't. It's not like some guys say, "I saw a Bigfoot and then I peed myself."
Right.
They don't tell you that. They just say, But why would these people? I don't get this either. Why, after you see something like that, would you go back out there looking for it again? Wouldn't it scare the hell out of you like it did me?
Some don't. Not all of them do.
And I don't blame them either.
We've had a few of them that said they haven't been back out of the woods since. So
I don't get it. I mean, I'm never going to go looking for this thing. I hope it never finds me either. What in the world? That's not my idea of fun, guys. No, not my idea.
I think you're safe up here.
Yeah, maybe.
Unless he got your scent and he followed you.
Thanks. I needed that. Oh man. Well, I'll be thinking about that now.
If you're in Indiana, Michigan has some reports, so I don't know if you want to go up to Michigan and check that out, but they do have some up there. So
no, I'm moving again. Oh my God. Have either of you guys ever seen anything weird? Any cryptids like this?
Not yet.
I saw a panther walking through a wheat field a couple years ago, but I think it was just somebody's pet that got loose.
Well, that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. Had some weird.
That is neat.
Had some different little paranormal weird things happen when I was a kid, but nothing really to speak of, But no, I haven't seen anything, and I'd love to. I know Brian and I both went to. People say careful what you wish for, and I understand that whole thing. I think if people would see these things maybe at 100 yards or more away, where they could, maybe in their car, where they felt more safe. Your case, I mean, I couldn't imagine being right there on the other side of a thin glass door. You probably were paralyzed for one, and you said you mentioned that you had a headache for several days. They talk about infrasound with these creatures being Bigfoot or Dogman or whatever. These things can create infrasound and actually make people sick. Do you think that could have happened to you?
Holy crap. Yeah. I think it could have happened to me. Yeah, I was sick for a couple days. I didn't know they could do that. I had no clue, but yeah. I was sick to my stomach. I was shaky. I was hoarse for screaming so damn loud. Embarrassed to hell too for peeing myself, and I had a bad headache. I mean, it rang me through the ringer. It really did. When it was hunkered down and it was doing whatever it was doing with the trash, how it stood up like that? I don't think it pushed against the side of the wall to get up. I think it just stood up. I mean, I was so. It's like our eyes were locked together, and it was definitely telling me it could eat me for dinner. It had no problem with that. And I don't know what scared it off. That's a real good point. And now I got to think about that. What actually made it leave? My screaming, I don't think that could have affected it really, because it definitely was locking eyes with me and still letting me know it could have had me. I tell you what, if I ever go hunting, which I doubt I would, but if I ever did with somebody just to go for deer or something, I'm taking my own weapon with me. I'm not going out there with nothing.
Absolutely. Yeah. You should always.
Yeah, I'm not that naive anymore. No, sir. I know there's weird stuff out there now.
Before this happened, did you believe in Bigfoot or anything like that? Did you think there were cryptids out there running around?
I thought there might be a possibility, but there's so many people who are so wacky-doo, And, like Kramer off of Seinfeld, you ever seen one of those? Well, I knew a guy like that, and he was a Bigfoot enthusiast, and I was like, okay, well, that's where that's at. They're kind of wacky-doo and all that. But after seeing this, I believe there's Bigfoot. Hell yeah, I believe it. I believe there's a lot of stuff out there. So yeah, that's what happened to me. It was
Wow,
how many
yeah,
years
that's
ago was
wild.
that? Like 20 some years ago, and I'm still freaking freaked out about it. It's like
Well,
one of
yeah,
those things.
you
But
don't
yeah,
forget
I've
about
seen
that kind of
some
thing.
Was
weird stuff.
was
Huh?
there ever a time after this happened where you kind of were okay? I mean, you lived there for a few years afterwards. Were you just living in fear all the time, or did you kind of get over it a
Yeah,
little bit? Or
no, never got over it. No. Um, I could open the patio doors, the blinds and all during the day, but at night I made sure that door was locked. Little help that would have done me. I closed the blinds every night. I had the fence up. I had the lights, and I don't know what good the lights would have been. This thing was going to get you with lights or no lights. I mean, I don't know. It just made me feel better. And I didn't go out there when I heard stuff at night. And I remember we had a French door to the back of the bedroom, and I made him put up another door, a solid door. And he was so pissed off at me about waking him up in the middle of the night that he took the garage door that led from the little walkway area to the garage, took that off its hinges, put the French door on there, took that door, flipped it upside down, and nailed it to the back frame of the door. So it was nailed in place. He didn't install the door, he nailed it in place. I think he was trying to make a point. I don't know. But I got
Probably.
the point. It was okay because then I really did feel more secure because I had a solid door there. I couldn't get out it, but something else couldn't get in either. So that's okay by me. That worked out. So I guess whatever he intended that to mean to me actually was a good thing. So I don't know. There was a lot of stuff going on at that time in my life, as you can tell.
yeah,
But yeah, I didn't need this crazy younger thing. And of course, my sister thought, well, somebody's playing with you, somebody's doing this to you. But no, that was no suit. You cannot fake that the movement, the eyes. And that, what guy in his right mind is going to go so far off a joke as to rub his nose in trash, and dig around? Would you guys do that? I don't think so. I wouldn't do it for a joke. That's pretty nasty.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
you get
No,
shot,
I don't think so
get
either.
shot doing
Yeah.
that somewhere.
Yeah. And everybody we knew he had a Glock. I mean, it's not like, it was a big surprise. So,
If he would have shot it, do you think the Glock would have done anything to it?
oh, probably not. And he wasn't that good of an aim either. I was better at it than he was. But in my state, I doubt if I could have hit anything either. But we had, 45 bullets. And with those, when you hit something, you blow a hole in it. It's not like a little 22.
Right.
So that's why
true.
I wanted the Glock in the first place, is because I figured even if somebody, something happens and I have to defend myself, I'm going to win. I'm pretty sure I'm going to win. I'm going to survive it. So that's
Usually
why we
with a
got the
45,
Glock.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we took it to the gun range and I went to fire the sucker. And when I first learned how to shoot, it would fire flames out both sides of the ports, on either side of the gun. And the bullet would come flying out and hit me right on the top of the head because I'm just the right height for it to hit me up top. And they're hot. Let me tell you, they're hot.
The casings, yeah.
Yeah. And the gun with the Glock, it shoots back. It has like a recoil. So we had a brass plate for the bottom of it to weight it down more so that I would be able to fire it. So I became pretty proficient at firing that Glock. And in the divorce, I got the Glock. But then the problem was one night I was sleeping in my own apartment in Albuquerque. And I went to move my hand, and I had my hand on the Glock under my pillow. And I thought, oh, damn, I almost fired this thing. So I said, you know what? I don't think I need the Glock no more. I think I'm more dangerous with having the Glock than I am without having it. So I just went ahead and sold the Glock in Albuquerque, and I didn't get half the price I should have got for it. I kind of regret it. But with the way the economy is now, with all these crazy people shooting each other, I almost wish I hadn't given it up, But at the same time, that's a whole nother subject anyway.
Yeah.
You let me talk, and I'll talk your ear off.
It's definitely good. It's definitely good to have a gun with you, especially if you're going out in the woods and hiking or just out for an adventure or whatever,
Yeah, because so many people see so many crazy things. I mean, there was one guy who was out there with his kids, And he went off to use the bathroom off on the side of the trail, and he looked over and he saw one of those Bigfoots looking at his kids. So he went down there, got his kids, and got out of there. But you never know what's watching you when you're out there.
That's true.
Yeah, back to, was it your friend's husband?
Lori. Yeah, her husband.
He said it was a juvenile Dogman that came in his house?
Yeah. I never heard of such a thing. He said it was small. It was like the regular size of like how tall did he say it was? I don't remember.
Did it look like a wolf to him, or what yours looked like? Did he describe it kind of similar?
Yes. Very similar to mine, except his had a tail. I don't know if mine had a tail or not. I didn't see a tail. And he didn't say it was some big fluffy dog tail. He said it was like a long skinny tail. He said it had a tail. And so they were calling it a demon because it had come in and had opened up their fridge, was going through their food, and they dove over top of each other to get to their back bedroom and barricaded themselves in their mom's room. She came home and they came out and they got in trouble for it. She wouldn't believe them that a demon had come in the house and got in the kitchen, but that does sound kind of crazy too, you know?
Did that happen in Florida too?
Yes, it happened on the island. That's why I was telling Lori, because we were all living on the island. It happened up further towards NASA. It was further up towards the wooded area in NASA.
And you said this was 10 years prior to your sighting?
Yeah.
So maybe it was the same one.
I guesstimate. Yeah, that's what I think too. Maybe.
Yeah, could have been.
Could have been. Now, is there more than one? I don't know. Is there only one? I don't know. I don't know anything about it other than it was, and it's so weird to think about. I mean, you could be sitting in your own house anywhere, and this thing is in your backyard. You don't know what's watching you through your windows too at night. You think I leave the curtains open at night? Hell no. I close those curtains. You don't know what's outside. There's all kinds of things walking around out there. You have no clue. Even people are dangerous. You don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I find interesting is that thing knew to go to the refrigerator. Maybe it had been staring in the window, watching people, or some point just watching people through the house, and knew that that's where the food was, and decided I'm going to go in and just get it. I'm hungry.
Or it could have smelled too, because some people don't clean out their fridge, and like you walk by it and you can smell like the smell of food or whatever. Sometimes, and maybe that too. I thought about that. How the hell did it open their fridge though? But that's what the kids said.
Got hands.
I wasn't there. I'm just going by what they said.
Yeah, the ones we've heard, the encounters we've heard with Dogman, they've had more human-like hands than dog paws. And maybe yours did too. Maybe you just didn't see the fingers, or maybe you were just thinking paws because you're thinking dog as well. But it's hard to say. Maybe there's both types. Right. I don't know.
I don't know. I know it looked like dog paws, and it was laying down and had its nose. It was like hunkered down to the ground, and it had its back up, and it was like rubbing its face around in the trash. Like, I thought it was eating it, but I never did really see teeth munching or anything. And when it turned its paw up, it spread out some, almost like a hand, but it was still like a dog paw. So it's so black. Let me tell you, it was this animal is solid black, except for its yellow eyes. That's the one thing that you see right away is those damn eyes, And, of course, the moon was behind it, and it was down front ways. So I'm just telling you, as best as I could see, but it was really close to me. Too damn close.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I stood there long enough to watch it stand up. I couldn't move. I was stuck where I was at. Literally stuck where I was at until it moved. And then I finally was able to move. God.
That's an awesome encounter. We're sorry that you went through it and feel like you do. But you did a great job telling your story on our show tonight. So we really appreciate it, Joy.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me. I'm sorry for rattling on, and I was just
you're fine.
so hyped up over this whole thing, and just and I appreciate it, guys. And I can't believe you two actually are kind enough to let me come on here and talk a little bit about this. I do feel a little bit better.
That's why we do this.
You're welcome.
I'll be thinking about Michigan now.
Sorry.
It's all right. I won't be going there.
Just letting you know. All right. Well, you have a good night, and we appreciate it again. And you take care.
Yeah,
now.
thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
We'll talk to you later.
Good night.
You're listening to the Cryptid Creatures Podcast with Todd and Brian. If you've had an encounter and want to be on the show, email us at info@cryptidcreatures.co or leave a message at 888-5-DOGMAN.
So I gotta say, that's probably one of the coolest Dogman encounters I've probably ever heard.
It is. Yeah, she was fun telling it. I mean, she had to collect herself a couple times, but
crazy stuff.
Interesting that it was not far from NASA.
Yeah, it is. Very interesting. I wonder what that's all about.
No.
And you don't normally hear about Dogmen in Florida, do you?
No.
I mean, they've all been
relegated to the skunk apes usually.
Yeah. So these things can be anywhere.
But yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
All right, my friend, let's wrap this up and get the hell out of here.
Right on, man. Thank you all again for listening.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Brian, for hanging out with me.
Yep. See ya.